important Ethiopian saints was Teklehaymanot. Teklehaymanot was, and that means a cultivator of faith or theology. Teklehaymanot was an Ethiopian who was a Christian ascetic and a monk who lived in the famous Lake Hike, and then later in the Debre Damo monastery, and where he also worked closely with the Ethiopian kings, and he was also a missionary. He went into surrounding African nations and preached the Bisrat, the gospel, and he led people to Christ. And one of the most famous examples of that was he went to the African kingdom called Demut. And so Demut was to the west of Ethiopia. So this also gives us an indication of how, just like in Nubia, Christianity was also spreading from the Nile Valley civilizations of Africa further west into other African nations that practiced traditional African religion already. And it was again through evangelization, apologetics, and mission work that happened from one African to another. So this also puts to bed again the idea that you know, the idea of universal truth or preaching that there's one way and Jesus is the only way, and that Jesus actually calls us away to a degree from a lot of our ancestral traditions and certainly ancestral worship, that's some kind of European imposition upon black people or African descendant people. That no, African people like Teklehaymanot were already preaching the Bisrat and calling people away from ancestral worship and the worship of creation and all these other kinds of things.